there's a few things that are just like common sense brain dead, and you wonder why governments don't, well, specifically actually political parties, why the Democratic and Republican parties don't jump on this kind of stuff. One of them, for example, is our insane trade policy that has shipped tens of millions of jobs overseas. Another is that the United States has become the mining pit of the world. We used to import raw materials into this country, make things out of them, and then export manufactured goods. We were the largest importer of raw materials, the largest exporter of manufactured goods in the world when Ronald Reagan came into office. Today, after 33 years of Reaganomics, we are now exactly reversed from that. We are the largest importer of finished goods, and we are exporting raw materials. And many of these mines are owned by foreign corporations. Canadian mining companies, Chinese mining companies, European-owned mining companies own big swaths of the American, the fossil fuel industry, if you want to call drilling mining, the precious metals industry, the utilitarian metals, copper mines, iron ore, all those kind of things. In Mongolia, they have a similar situation. Right? The world is mining Mongolia, and the Mongolian oligarchs are getting rich, and everybody else is screwed. And so a neo-Nazi group, Carlos Barria is writing about this over at on Reuters. Raw Story picked up the story, but it's on Reuters. He writes, a Mongolian neo-Nazi group has rebranded itself as an environmentalist organization fighting pollution by foreign-owned mines, seeking legitimacy as they send swastika-wearing members to check mining permits. I'm not making this stuff up. The group is called White Swastika, and they join several other nationalist groups, White Mongolia, Whole Mongolia, Fire Nation, Blue Mongolia, and they're showing up. I mean, here's the... From an office behind a lingerie store in the Mongolian capital, a shaven-headed, jack-booted Sagan Kas, this is the fellow's names, the group's name, stormtroopers, launch bizarre raids on mining projects, demanding paperwork and soil samples to study for contaminants. The group's leader, Arambold Altakum, 40, told Reuters, speaking through a translator, before, we used to work in a harsh way, like breaking down doors. But now we have changed. We use other approaches, like demonstrations. They talk about how the members wore black SS-style uniforms, Nazi uniforms, complete with lightning flashes and replica iron crosses. Today, our goal is to save nature. We are doing things to protect the environment. The development of mining is growing and has become an issue, says the head Nazi. We used to talk about fighting with foreigners, but some time ago we realized that is not efficient. So our purpose changed from fighting foreigners in the streets to fighting the foreign mining companies. Now, I'm not suggesting that the neo-Nazis should adopt this, although I would guess that if you were to do a poll of neo-Nazis in the United States, the majority of them would say, yes, we shouldn't have insane trade policies that send our jobs overseas, and we shouldn't have foreign companies owning our mines and mining our resources and shipping it to their countries for a pittance. This was one of Reagan's biggest contributions. James Watt, his Secretary of the Interior, was selling off Western mine land that could be mined, for pennies on the dollar. And when he was asked why he was doing something that was so obviously not in the interest of the United States, it was going to lead to horrible pollution for Americans, a lot of profit for foreign companies in foreign countries, he said, well, it doesn't really matter because Jesus is coming again, and when he comes, he will make all things new. Now, I'm not making this up. You can use the DuckDuckGo machine to check it out, or the Google machine, or the Bing machine, or whatever machine you want. So it's like, when are people going to figure this stuff out? Anyhow, Daryl in Port Orford, Oregon. Daryl, you wanted to talk about the firefighters who died in, was that Arizona, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was in Prescott, Arizona, is the Granite Mountain Hotshots, and I'd like to say first that all my condolences and my heartfelt love goes out to my fire family that's gone there. Yeah. I did this for like 17 years. I started in 91. I've lost a lot of friends to our aggressive stance on fires when sometimes we should be taking the non-aggressive stance, because this was straight out. Everybody's even saying it on when you look on Facebook. People are commenting that this was straight out of money, and we're protecting and saving these houses.
Right.
And they knew the high winds were coming in the morning, the forecast, all that they get. They knew it was coming. They committed these guys anyways. The big thing I wanted to mention to you is there's a company in McMinnville, Oregon, Evergreen Aviation, has the 747s. And they are right now not used. He's got 10 used, all out of country, and they're having trouble being approved here in the United States.
These are like tankers to drop flame retardant or drop water?
Yes, they drop fire retardant, the big red stuff that all of us are supposed to avoid. He can drop 10 miles down to his whole load at once, depending on what they need. They didn't have enough aircraft in there, in my opinion, from what I'm reading now.
Because we had outsourced the aircraft?
Yeah, there wasn't. They could have had this guy there quick, and he could have jumped 10,000 gallons, or it's an incredible amount. I mean, when I got friends that know the guy personally who invented this one, and it's being held up under government contracts, and they won't let him go in, and it was all over trying to save the houses that were gone anyways.
Yeah.
And I've done it for lots. I know how it feels. I've had to run myself. I've had close calls. I've had to be on top of mountains sitting in 500-acre clearings. It is the most scariest thing you'll ever deal with. I love my job. That's why I kept it up. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Daryl, thank you for the insight and for the in memoriam. Good to hear from you, and thanks for watching. We'll be back. It is 28 minutes past the hour here on the Thom Hartmann Program. When are politicians going to get it in America? What average working people really want?
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 866-987-THOM.
I mean, do we have to wait for the rise of the Neo Nazis here? Oh, that's right. They're already rising, aren't they?